Whenever the X-Men get introduced to the MCU and we have the first debut movie hit the big screen, there's a lot of villains that they could pick, but I would personally like to see Mister Sinister as the first villain that the team goes against. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to be saying, what about Magneto? He's the main villain when it comes to X-Men, and you're right, which is exactly why I think it would be better to build him up first. We've never seen Mister Sinister in live action before. I mean, we got that teaser in X-Men Apocalypse, but you already know when it comes to Fox's X-Men movies, nothing ever gets paid off. They're the things that they tease.
How the fuck would you show me something if I couldn't have it?
But why him specifically? Well, if this version of X-Men are focusing more on Cyclops and Jean Grey instead of Wolverine, then Mister Sinister is the perfect villain, because he's constantly trying to steal their DNA, believing that their mutant genes hold the key to creating the most powerful mutant lineage imaginable. And well, he's not wrong. Cable, Rachel Summers and Nate Grey are some of the most powerful mutants to ever exist. This gives Scott and Jean more personal connection to the villain, making the stakes higher. Also, Sinister's origin is interesting. Born Nathaniel Essex in the late 20th century, who is obsessed with genetic manipulation, my man knew Charles Darwin and was intrigued by his theory of evolution, sparking his goal to make the perfect race of superhumans. That's the basics of his origin. Also, Sinister's known for cloning himself. Like a lot. My first introduction to him was in the Deadpool game, and in that he's kind of a joke. But in other forms of media, he's really menacing, and he has an undertone of being eccentric. I mean, you don't dress up like a vampire dominatrix if you're not a bit over the top. Also, I didn't even know this, but that red diamond on his forehead actually holds his genetic template. Why you have it on your forehead, I don't know, but like I said before, he's eccentric. Looking like Lil Uzi Vert. In fact, I think that's what separates him from other X-Men villains. Magneto ultimately is fighting for mutant rights, and he wants the best for mutant kind. He's seen the worst humanity has to offer when people are different. And it's his backstory and motivation that make people really vibe with his character. I mean, the whole idea of Magneto is right didn't come from nowhere. There's some people who actually think, me myself included, that Magneto is actually a hero. If he was a mutant in the Marvel world, Magneto would be some kind of hero to you. But moving on to another villain, Apocalypse. He's similar to Magneto in that he believes the survival of the fittest and wants to reshape the world so that mutants are dominant over mankind. Because Apocalypse is the first mutant, he sees himself as the father of all mutants, and ultimately he wants the best for them. The difference between Magneto and Apocalypse is that you can reason with Magneto, you can't reason with Apocalypse. He has his mind set on what he wants. I also believe that Apocalypse should be like the Thanos for the X-Men, setting him up over multiple movies, because the Apocalypse we got in the Fox X-Men movies were honestly laughable. Seriously, why didn't they just make him CGI? Apocalypse is a character that works best with CGI in my opinion. I mean, you take one look at him in the comics and you go, yeah, there's no way we can do this practical, but they did it anyway. Mojo, in my opinion, is too weird looking and just weird in general for a first movie appearance. I think he would make a good villain down the road, but I think his motivation and what he wants to do is a lot for the audience to take in. I mean, just look at him. Looks like Jabba the Hutt. Arcade would be a good one, but I don't think he's as recognisable as Mister Sinister. I mean, until the Nando V movie video came out, I didn't even know he existed. But I believe that Sinister is just right, because unlike Magneto and Apocalypse, he's not a mutant. He's a man with an obsession of mutation. I think that this would play well into the idea that mutants just can't live in peace, that humanity hates them for no reason. Also, like I said before, I want the MCU to build anticipation for when Magneto appears. I'm confident in saying that we've had so many good adaptations of Magneto that I think it's okay to let other villains have their shine. Marvel knows that we all love Magneto. Also, unlike Sinister, Magneto actually has depth to his character. This is not me saying that Sinister is one note, but compared to Magneto, Magneto is clearly the better villain. His character deserves to breathe more from movie to movie. Sinister, on the other hand, is unredeemable in every sense of the word. Also, from a visual aspect, Sinister just looks weird and intriguing. Because when you see him from the first time, you think he's some type of vampire or some type of, I don't even know, just something. Now, here's what I will say. It'll be interesting to see how the MCU adapts his look. Me personally, I think they should go all the way. I want to see the red diamond on his forehead. I want to see the pale skin, that dominatrix suit that man wears. But knowing the MCU, they'll probably just overcomplicate the design.
What? You're just ruining it. Look at my lips. You're ruining it. Ruining the fun for the next man.
I also believe that by the end of the movie, when he's defeated, he shouldn't be killed off. Maybe he escapes and we see him later on. Sinister also likes to play in the shadows. He could work under Apocalypse whenever they introduce him. As for who should play the character, John Hamm is a popular fan cast. I could see him playing the role. However, my only concern would be that could he nail the accent? Remember, Sinister is from the UK. Could John Hamm portray an old English accent well? We all know that he can play a villain very well. However, I think the accent is important for the character. It helps distinguish himself from the rest of the time period that he's in. Me personally, I would like to see Daniel Craig portray the role. We already know that he's a good actor, but I don't think that he would suit a superhero role well because he doesn't like being bogged down in movie roles as seen in James Bond. I think having Sinister as a one-time role that he plays could work well for him, but those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.